We got some concerning comments from the director of Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire, Adam Wingard, claiming that the upcoming Scar King villain in the film is a bigger threat than anything that Godzilla and King Kong have faced so far in the MonsterVerse. Before we get into this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. With that out of the way, let's get into this here. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com, your number one place for pop culture news. And this is what Adam Wingard told Total Film. He said, "What's interesting about this new film is that we go in a direction that I don't think this series has ever seen before, which is that the Scar King is, in a way, the closest that the human threat has ever been juxtaposed onto a Titan itself." Those comments are utterly ridiculous given the fact that in Godzilla versus Kong, humanity created MechaGodzilla, and they used King Ghidorah to basically power MechaGodzilla. And I just think this is utterly ridiculous. How is a giant orange orangutan the closest that the human threat has ever been juxtaposed onto a Titan itself, when indeed humanity literally built MechaGodzilla? It just doesn't make any sense. And I think Adam Wingard directed the Godzilla versus Kong film. I'd have to double check that. I know he has been involved in the franchise for a while now, so he should know what's going on. But these comments just seem kind of out of left field, don't really make any sense based on what we've seen from the previous films. Just utterly ridiculous and deeply concerning. He went on and said, "The Scar King almost represents an upscaled version of the worst parts of humanity, just as Kong represents some of the best parts of humanity. Again, MechaGodzilla exists. I'm really not sure how a Titan, an actual Titan, this Scar King, this orange giant orangutan that you can see right here on the screen, is somehow an upscaled version of the worst parts of humanity, more so than MechaGodzilla." Obviously, he's not saying that. He doesn't actually compare the Scar King to MechaGodzilla, but MechaGodzilla is still there and was clearly some of the worst parts of humanity. And it looks like, obviously, he doesn't mention MechaGodzilla here, but based on these comments, it does sound like he's trying to downplay MechaGodzilla and up boost or boost up, or however you want to phrase it, the Scar King. He went on to say this: "I would say the Scar King is the greatest threat that we've seen in these movies. It's really going to take a full team together to bring it down because it's too big for just one Titan. I'm sorry, there's absolutely no way that the Scar King is a bigger threat than King Ghidorah or a bigger threat than MechaGodzilla, which is powered by King Ghidorah. And I think King Ghidorah eventually takes over MechaGodzilla, but based on like his brainwaves activities and the pride and the hubris of humanity, thinking they could control King Ghidorah through MechaGodzilla, turns out to turn against them, and King Ghidorah takes it over and tries to destroy. I don't know which. I think they're in like Korea. I think that's where they're at. I don't remember which city he's out there destroying. And Kong and Godzilla have to team up to defeat him. But this does kind of, I guess, go in the same vein that we've seen from King of the Monsters to Godzilla versus Kong, where it was just Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, a one-on-one match in that one. And then obviously Godzilla versus Kong, you had Godzilla and Kong teaming up to defeat MechaGodzilla. And so now it looks like they need a full team to do it. It's just Godzilla and Kong aren't enough. They've got to team up with Mothra based on the rumors and leaks. Not only will they be teaming up with Mothra, but they'll also be teaming up with a Titan named Shimo, which is basically an enslaved creature that has some kind of ice-type powers. They're enslaved by the Scar King. And so they'll have to free him, and they'll team up with him to defeat the Scar King. And then they also, I think there's a couple of like baby Titans that we see, some baby gorilla Titans like Kong, that we might see aiding Godzilla and Kong as well. So you have at least maybe 5 or 6 other Titans, or 5 or 6 Titans teaming up to take on the Scar King. And I get that is how you can kind of create drama and tension. You just boost the scale, boost the power of the villains. But I don't know. I don't know if that really works very well, especially when you're just dealing with kind of an orange orangutan, which is very similar to King Kong. He doesn't have any kind of unique abilities, or doesn't seem to have any kind of unique abilities or power sets or anything like that. He's just kind of is able to use tools, I would assume, and enslave other Titans and use technology, I guess, to help him. Whereas, like, you could go back and look at some of the other Titans that have unique power sets, and maybe Godzilla has to find a way to overcome those differing power sets and defeat it. And that there's actually like some strategy or tactics at play rather than just brute force, where it looks like it might just be some brute force here. And that brute force isn't just coming in the vein of Godzilla or Kong, but it's coming in the vein of all of them combined to defeat this Scar King character and his minions. But I definitely find this concerning. The trailer was not appealing to me. This scene in particular, where you see Kong wearing his Infinity Gauntlet and them kind of running together, losing the scale of how big Godzilla is and how big Kong is. It just, I don't know. It seemed a little bit too kitschy or cartoony to me, instead of like kind of the epic sweeping battles that we had, at least in Godzilla King of the Monsters. So maybe that is kind of what they're going for more, is like the more hokey thing, and that's why they're doing this upscaled like the villain is the greatest threat now. But let me know what you think. Those are kind of my thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, but to always speak the truth.